Hello everyone, I'm Gabe, and today we'll be squeezing in one more bonus video for Pokémon Amber. I've gotten a few requests to tackle some of the lost Pokémon that are hinted at in the Pokédex, but that we haven't seen yet. So, let's take a not-so-dead approach to the Dragapult line, meet an ancient Magikarp, and see what Genesect was before it was a legendary. There's quite a bit to get through, so let's go ahead and jump into things. First up is teeny tiny little Dreepy, and if you aren't aware, the Pokédex entries for this line hints that it wasn't always a ghost type, and instead they lived happily in the ancient seas. So we'll be tossing aside the ghost type, obviously, in favor of the water type. I mean, the colossal amphibian inspiration will be done justice with a dragon and water typing. What are we going to do with Dreepy? Well, the first thing is changing the head. We're going to get rid of that wide crest. I mean, it's coming back when it evolves, but we're going to start things off with this kind of bullet-shaped head. It'll make a bit more sense when we see how things are incorporated into the evolutions. And the next big change is that we're taking the weird little, tail spikes that it has and shimmying those up to be a bit of a collar. And then, by extending these spikes and flattening them, we get this goofy little propeller look. Yeah, Dreepy is going to spin its propeller necklace to swim through the water. Very cute. And the last minor tweak is just the arms, making those look a bit more aquatic and flipper-like, and of course, they're going to be swooped back since it's swimming through the water so fast. The colors aren't anything particularly extreme. I think that Dragapult's colors work pretty well for a dragon and water type, so we'll be starting off with those and elaborating as it evolves. Oh, and as with all of the other primal forms in the Palean region, the shinies were inspired by the base form's colors. Okay, let's take a look at Primal Dreepy, the propeller Pokemon. The ancient form of this speedy Pokemon lacks the ghost type. Instead, Primal Dreepy swim through the water at great speeds. They are able to spin the three strange fins around their necks to pull themselves forward. They lack the stabilizing head crests and often veer off course. And its ability is Speed Boost, so that means it gets faster and faster each turn. I gotta say, I like it. It's a bit of a departure, not having the head crest and getting the propeller fins in there, but I wanted to have some fun with these designs since the original Dragapult line is just so cool looking to begin with. But actually, before we continue with this line, let's hop over to something that is goofy but could look cooler. Everyone wanted to see an ancient Magikarp, and at first I just wasn't sure what to do with it, but then I found a fun in. Ancient Magikarp is supposed to be stronger than its pathetic modern counterpart, but I didn't love the idea of that meaning that, okay, then there was an even more powerful Gyarados. I mean, that's cool to think about, a crazy strong Gyarados, but we already have a Mega Gyarados, so I wanted to try something a little bit more interesting. This ancient Magikarp isn't able to evolve at all. Over time, the distinction between Magikarp and Gyarados arose, but to start off, it's just a single-stage fish. That lets me pull in some of the more monstrous elements of Gyarados into the dumb little base Magikarp design. Smushing the parts together wasn't particularly difficult. Obviously, it needs the Gyarados mouth. We can extend the body just a hair. All that is good stuff. And we ended up with a design that feels like a fun, doofy, but intimidating amalgamation. Now the colors, they took me a long time to figure out. I ended up playing with even more colors after I stopped recording, so what you are seeing here ended up being the shiny colors. They were nice, but they ended up feeling a little too close to Gyarados. I ended up with a more golden Magikarp palette for the normal colors. Pretty good. Okay, let's check out Primal Magikarp, the fish Pokemon. This gruesome-looking Pokemon is the ancestor to modern Magikarp. They are considerably stronger and more aggressive, but lack the ability to evolve. Researchers have tried everything, from evolution stones to throwing it up a waterfall, but it simply cannot become a Gyarados. and its ability is Intimidate. I mean, look at that face. And that lowers the opponent's attack when they enter battle. It is kind of ridiculous, but I gotta say, I love it. There's the excitement, of catching a Magikarp that is actually mean and can hold its own in battle, mixed with the disappointment that this ugly fish can't even evolve. I mean, I think that's funny, at least. Alright, let's pop back over to the Dragapult line again. Little Propeller Dreepy riding on a Dracloak. So, first off, I wanted to show the Dreepy is able to spin its neck fins and act like a little engine to pull the actual Dracloak around. The Dracloak has lost the propeller action itself and more closely resembles the normal Dracloak. The only big differences are a body that is a bit rounder, like its extinct animal inspiration, and a simplification of the head crest again. Now, normal Dragapult has these sleek fins popping up on its head, and that starts to show the stealth bomber influence. But we won't be following that stealth bomber influence here. I mean, I love that the Dragapult line merges this awesome looking extinct amphibian with a stealth plane. I'm from New Mexico, and there's a bit of a connection to the stealth fighters there, so I have always loved them. I mean, I'm not generally big on military stuff, but dang, that is a cool looking fighter plane. But anyway, sorry, we won't be going that route with this design. It's too futuristic for a primal form. Alright, let's learn about Primal Dracloak, the propeller Pokemon. This gentle Pokemon looks after a lone Primal Dreepy. In return, the Dreepy uses its fins to pull the pair through the water. Primal Dracloak's head crest stabilizes their movement, and they're able to glide effortlessly through even the strongest of currents. And its ability remains Speed Boost. This just makes me happy. With the original Dracloak, it almost felt like a little weird that it just had a Dreepy on its head. I mean, I know that it had to be there to get to Dragapult, but it never felt particularly motivated for the middle stage. But here, I love imagining them just whipping around underwater, almost like one of those personal submarine things. Okay, this is adorable and all, but let's hop over to something a little less adorable. Ah yes, Genesect. Now, there have been 1,000,001 theories that suggest Genesect is actually a Kabutops that was revived and covered in armor, and I can totally see that, right? It makes sense. Similar proportions, expert hunter, cool, great. But what if we found a different inspiration? Enter Manipulator. This is an extinct, giant, predatory cockroach. With its elongated limbs and actual neck, it was kind of like the praying mantis of its age, but it also works really well for Genesect. I mean, fierce predator, check. General proportions, check. Playing up the trope that, cockroaches will survive anything, only to have this return in the future as a legendary. Yep, that works too. Great. So, we're going to keep things mostly the same, but focus on stretching the limbs out a bit, so it looks like the inspiration. I also took the black dots that Genesect already has on its head and let those be the connection points for super long cockroach antennas. Very fun. The toughest thing to figure out was what to do with the cannon on the back. The Pokédex entries are a little unclear. Some say that humans added a cannon to its back, while others say that they upgraded the cannon, so I wasn't sure if it should have a cannon. I ended up landing on these extended kind of wing plates on the back. They give the design a similar silhouette, but could also feasibly be swung around and clasped together to form a cannon for, certain attacks. It's a little nebulous, but I think it still works. Oh, and also, as you can see, the colors kicked my butt. It took forever to find a palette that, looked like a cockroach while referencing the fact that Amber is where these specimens are usually found. Alright, let's check out the decks for Primal Genesect, the survivor Pokemon. Researchers in the Palean region have finally been able to correctly restore the fossil that was used to create a man-made Pokemon in Unova. Primal Genesect is an unparalleled hunter. Its claws and mandibles have been observed slicing through all known materials. Primal Genesect knows its power and hunts only prey it deems worthy. And its ability is Sharpness, and so that boosts any slicing moves. Its stats aren't quite as high as the modern legendary, but it would still be a real meanie to deal with. I mean, heck, I don't know, perhaps you could metal coat this bad boy to get the legendary, and though that may trivialize how tough it is to get, whatever. Alright, let's finish things up with Dragapult! So, we're not doing a stealth bomber, we're gonna do a seaplane. I thought about going another route, but it just had to be a plane. Alright, part of what makes the animal inspiration so cool is that big flat boomerang head was used just like a wing to generate lift in the water. There was some uncertainty for a while, but eventually someone just built a model and tested it in the water and oh, yep, this thing generates a ton of lift and would let our extinct amphibian friend be a super effective ambush predator, rising up from below. Very cool. So yeah, we are continuing with the wing, and not only does a seaplane not feel as futuristic as a stealth fighter, so it'll be good for a primal form, but seaplane, and it's a water type, all that's great. Our Dreepy, sitting inside the head wing, get to poke out and be the engines. Very cute. We're also going to beef up the forearms and let them dangle down to give the appearance of the plane's kind of pontoons for landing on the water. And fiddling with the tail and the legs, let us land on something that feels like the back half of a plane. With the wide amphibian body, keeping things from getting too streamlined and plane-like. And I am really happy with this goofy design. Let's meet Primal Dragapult, the lift Pokemon. This ancient aquatic behemoth keeps two Primal Dreepy safe within its massive head crest, who in turn propel its massive body through the water. Though more comfortable in the water, researchers have witnessed Primal Dragapult launching itself into the sky and flying successfully, and its ability remains speed boost because of those little engines. Again, since the original Dragapult is so cool to begin with, it was just a blast to make something that's a little more out there and goofy. But you'll have to let me know what you think of this line down in the comments below. Alrighty, that is it. Thank you all so much for watching, and please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts on today's episode, and I'll see you in the next episode of Pokemon Amber, where we will be starting with the post-game content. Bye!